Hey, how's it going, everyone? This month I did an experiment, quite nothing like what I've ever done before, where I got really into a Pokemon game at launch, um, and I decided it'd be really fun to kind of cover the trends of the game as they evolve and as time progresses in the game. And by doing that, we're gonna see how much Wonder Trade can change over time. I'm very bad with intros, but basically, I traded 90 Eevees, and this is the results. So the basic Pokemon stats look a little bit like this. Um, it does include Pokemon that are slated to be in the game, just aren't yet. So the numbers are a bit different than they would be if I was to go through every Pokemon in the game and list their typings. Unfortunately, I don't have the Pokédex done yet, so that is not something I have the capability to do with the knowledge of what Pokemon are available through say like the Paldean Wooper. You can trade it to get like the original Wooper. So I don't have the full knowledge of everything to that game yet. So these numbers are a little skewed. They would be a little different. However, the breakdown is still roughly around this. And these are the boxes of Pokemon I received. There are three of them. We'll go by them and talk about them a little bit more as we go. But it is interesting to see. This was not too long after the Charizard raid went out, and since after I've done this, the um, the Cinderace raid has came out since then. So I did a little bit of Wonder Trading because I did want him, but wasn't at 7-star rage yet. So actually, I do have one, but it's numbers will change over time with new Pokemon. This is terrible. I'm very tired, and I've already recorded this once, and the audio was messed up. However, um, interesting to see that Slicer was pretty common, especially if you look at the other two boxes. He didn't show up in the third box in the third time, and you can kind of see how far apart each of these are. I will in the future include the date that I did trading on, because like you can see as my team does slowly change. Like these are back-to-back days. You can tell by the levels, but like this is a completely different team that I got going on here. So, but I did only get the game on Christmas, so there's not too much of a time change. Um, yeah, it's really interesting to see how common some of the starters are over the other ones. Like Sprigatito was very common, one of if not the most common Pokemon. So it is really surprising to see when I didn't get a single Quaxley. I did get a few Fuecocos, but like it's just weird to see how much less Quaxley is picked. But the breakdown for the stats of Pokemon are somewhere along this. Now I did mess up, and I did include the Terra types of said Pokemon. This was something I shouldn't have done because it did skew the numbers a bit. Like for example, I did get a flying Pikachu here. That Pikachu right there is a flying Pikachu. It doesn't show it in the photo, but it is. And there was a few other ones in there. Pull up the number here. Uh, yeah, 15 were Terra types, so it did skew numbers a bit. But it's interesting to look at this number and how common something like normal grass and electric are compared to the actual thing where they're way less common. I mean, the percentage of normal types is almost double in comparison to the size of the base roster. And it's really interesting to see something like water, which takes up the biggest slice in the game, be reduced to just way less. Now, this would probably change with a bigger sample pool. The next one, don't worry, will be a bigger sample pool. If you have suggestions for Pokemon I should want to trade for the next one, go ahead and feel free to do it. I was thinking Cinderace, but I don't have nothing's concrete yet. So if you have any suggestions, a unit, a character you'd want to see get traded, keep it breedable because I don't want to catch over like 200 Iron Bundles. Even though I'd love the Wonder Trade a bunch of Iron Bundles, but still, it is very interesting to see how much more certain types take up compared to the actual roster. Like just the first full 5 types take up almost half of the pie chart in comparison to the original where it was only 1/4. But and then for the new Terra type, I did show this on screen earlier, but only 15 Pokemon had a changed Terra type, which was like 16%. I was kind of hoping there'd be a bit more, assuming how much like people run raids. But people kind of suck at this game still. Running raids is actually really painful. Like I'll be running 5-star raids, have the best Pokemon for it, and still lose over and over and over again. It's really annoying. The gender breakdown was really, really male-sided for the beginning of the journey. While it was calculated and filing and all the types and whatnot, for more than half of it, I thought male was going to be like a very, very, very more even number. But female pulled them at the end. If you take the other slice to add it to female, it would be 50-50, which most Pokemon do run a 50-50 gender breakdown. Now, there are some, of course, that are predominantly female and some that are predominantly male, but it was a really interesting metric to look at and see, just how the gender went. And then, last but not least, we have area of origin. Now, this is not too surprising that about 5/6 of the pie chart is English and Japan. Um, it's just the two of the most popular regions in not the United States, in the whole world, and those are the most heaviest in terms of like playing Pokemon. Just where the most of the fan base sits. This chart was not too surprising. However, I did hope for a bit more foreign Pokemon. The fact that over half of them was English does make sense because when I was trading, obviously I lived in America, so I'm trading them in American times. So it's not too surprising that the numbers aren't quite half and half. Yeah, I have a few changes I want to do in the future. Next time I want to do a breakdown of the Terra type each Pokemon has that I'm giving away with their gender and ability. Those are 3 things I want to add. And then I mentioned something else in the video that I don't remember. Oh yeah, I want to do a breakdown of the Terra types that get received, make a pie graph like this, but just with the changed Terra types. And next time I want to do a bigger sample pool. So don't be surprised if the next video is quite a lot longer than this one. I think this one is shorter than the one I recorded yesterday. But that's because I already spoke my thoughts on that one, and my opinion hasn't changed, and like I'm forgetting my opinion. But next time, this is going to be twice as long and twice as good. I'm going to try to shoot closer to 200 Pokemon, because this whole thing took about 10-12 hours. It did take a long time. The worst part was hatching the eggs. That is easily the worst part of doing this. Getting the eggs isn't really too bad. You just have to keep time management on the sandwiches, since you can't check how much of the sandwich is left while you're in the picnic. And honestly, trading them doesn't take too long. But the worst part is hatching. So next time, we're gonna take a little more time to prepare, and I'm gonna try to have around 200 eggs. I do want to step it up to around 200, and next time do 250 maybe, and then slowly inch up to more and more. But thank you for watching. Next one's gonna be way better. It's gonna have more data, and it will be a first take that I'll actually be able to upload because I won't run into technical issues. Anyways, thank you for watching. Goodbye.